In this video, I'll show you the easiest way of sewing this beautiful maxi gathered layered skirt with very easy steps. I'll show you everything from start to finish. You're going to learn how to make the gathers with a hand sewing needle, then sew everything together. If this is something you love to watch, make sure you subscribe for more. So let's get started with taking the body measurements. So we're going to take the full length of the skirt measurement by placing the measuring tape from the waist all the way to the floor. Then I'll add extra inches for hemming. So as you can see, it's on the floor and plus extra inches. So I'm working with 37 inches. So next, let's calculate the full length of the tiers. First, we have the full length of the skirt, which is 37 inches. Then the next thing we need to do is determine how many sections or tiers of the skirt we're going to be having. So as you saw on the thumbnail, this skirt is going to have 3 tiers. So you need to determine how many you want. If you want it to have 4 or 5 or 10, it's up to you. But this is just going to have 3 tiers. And I'll show you what I mean by tiers. I'm going to draw the skirt for you guys. So to determine how long each tier is, we'll divide 37 inches by 3. So if you want your sketch to have 5 tiers, you divide 37 by 5 or whatever number. And there it has given us 12.3 inches. That will be the length for each tier. So I'm just going to show a draft of what I mean and how the skirt is going to look like. So this is a draft illustration of the skirt. And I've decided it's going to have 3 tiers. So these are the tiers I'm talking about. If you want 5 or 10, it's up to you. This is tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And each of them is going to have a length of 12.3 inches. So now let's find the width of each tier. So to find the width of each tier, you need to, let me just draw the skirts on this other paper again so it will be easier to explain. So we have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Just going to label them for you guys. So to determine the width of each tier, we'll use this simple formula. So you get your hip circumference, multiply it by 2. That's for tier 1. So I'm going to go on my mannequin and take the measurement of the hip circumference. So this is the hip. You need to place the measuring tape around the hip and whatever you have. So this is the measurement we have. It's about 30 inches. It's 30 inches actually. We'll just use 30 inches. I'm going to go back to our pattern paper. So our hip was 30. I'll multiply it by 2. And I'm going to have 60. So tier 1 is going to be equivalent to 60 inches in width. Then for tier 2, you get that 60 inches, the one you calculated at the first one, the 60 inches, multiplied by 2. Then what you have is 120 inches. Then for tier 3, you get that 120 inches for tier 2, multiplied by 2, and it's going to give you 240 inches. So these are the measurements you're going to cut on the fabric. If we're going to cut out for tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Then the band, the waistband, the band for the waist, we're going to cut out from, this is going to be the band. So depending on how much your band measures, those are the measurements you're going to cut out from there. So I'm just going to get my measuring tape. So this is a 1.5 band. I'll multiply it by 2 and add extra half an inch, 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'll cut out 4 inches from tier 1. So tier 1 will remain 4 inches for the band. Then whatever will remain, that will be what will be for tier 1. Next, cutting the fabric and making gathers. So I've already cut out tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3 based on the calculations that we had. And this is for the waistband. Remember we had cut out some inches of tier 1 for the waistband. This is the one we have over here. So now let's make the gathers. To make the gathers, I'll be using a hand sewing needle. As you can see, I'll be making the gathers. So I'm just going to hand sew a running stitch on each tier. I'll sew from one side, one end to the other, as you can see me do. If you have a gathering foot, you can go ahead and do it on the machine, but this is one of the easiest ways of making gathers. You just have to make even stitches, running stitches. So this is what we have, our beautiful gathers. I'm going to move on and make the same gathers on my second tier. I'll make running stitches, then I'll go on to the third one as well. So as you can see, I have gathers for my second and first tier. So I'm going to move on to my third and final tier. So here we have my final third tier and the other 2 tiers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join them and stitch them. But before we do that, you need to reduce the first tier. You're going to start with the second. The first tier will be the same size as the elastic waistband. Then the second tier, that is the second tier will be reduced to the hemline of the first tier. So this is going to be the same size as this. Let me just show you what I mean. So what I mean is tier 1 had a width of 60 inches. So tier 2, that's tier 1, it had 60 inches. So the top part, the gathers will be 40 inches for tier 1. You're going to reduce the gathers to 40 inches. So I'm just going to measure and make sure this part here is reduced to 40 inches. Then for tier 2, the gathers will be reduced to, tier 2 is 120 in width. It's going to be reduced to the hem of 60 inches. So on tier here we have 60 inches, meaning tier 2, the gathers will be equivalent to 60 inches. We need to reduce them to 60 inches. Then for tier 3, we're going to use reduce it to 120. So tier 3 in width is 240. However, the gathers will be equal to 120. So whatever is on tier 1 will go to tier 2, whatever is on tier 2 to go to tier 3 on the gathers. Then for tier 1, it's going to use 40 inches. So now that we've reduced our gathers to, the next thing we need to do is sew the tiers together, right sides facing each other. I'll take this to the sewing machine and join all the pieces together and also attach my waistband and elastic. Then once that is done, first of all, we've joined tier 1 and tier 2 together. This is what we have. I'm going to go on to join tier 2 and tier 3 together over here, right sides facing each other. Then after joining these two, this is what we're going to have next. So this is what we have. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more sewing and pattern drafting videos.